doll artist Kim here from CustomDollBaby.com. Today we're going to be talking about using a NuWave oven to cure your Genesis heat set paints on your lifelike baby dolls. For discussing the NuWave oven, let's quickly review why we don't want to use a toaster oven. For example, in the toaster oven, the piece is dangerously close to the heating element, which increases the risk of melting. There's also a huge temperature gradient between the front of the oven where heat is escaping and the back of the oven where the heat's being generated, up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So at the front of the oven is at 240 degrees Fahrenheit, but the back of your oven is at 290 degrees. The back of the piece is going to start to melt where the front of the piece is actually never warm enough to cure. We have the same problem with the conventional oven with the added complication that heated vinyl releases toxic fumes. When cooking inside a conventional oven, these fumes are released into your home. At the same time, some of them remain inside the oven, re-evaporate next time you heat the oven, and can be transferred to your food. Of the available options, I find that I get the best results from the NuWave oven. So in this demonstration, I will show you how to set up your NuWave oven for reborning. There is the bottom tray that comes with the oven. You include in that tray the pan that came with the oven. So we're going to leave that in at all times. We don't take it out. So what we have is a metal pan. This is where you're going to be setting your doll, but we don't want the doll to come in contact with any metal. So we're going to line the pan with soft material first. Some tutorials suggest the use of polyfill to line the oven. This really only works in a convection oven. With a NuWave oven, it's really not feasible due to the high-powered fan. However, this material is acceptable for your drying tray. Or cooling tray, rather. So the best material to line the inside of the oven is actually just to use some rags or some hand towels. So what I like to do is first attach the extender ring. Should fit right into the slot. And then line the bottom of the pan with the rags or washcloths. And I'll just keep adding washcloths until there's no longer any metal exposed for the doll to come in contact with. One of the great conveniences of the NuWave oven is regardless of where I choose to cure my paint, I can always arrange my parts in the convenience of my workshop. Most 20-inch kits will fit in the oven all at once. It's just a matter of arranging the parts optimally. So to make sure that I can fit as many parts in each baking cycle, I like to arrange the parts flange to flange because you don't really care if the flanges bump into each other during the bake cycle. So that creates an opportunity for us to make a little more space. You want to make sure that none of the parts are touching the oven, the metal part of the oven, and you want to be sure that they're not touching each other. So now that I have a nice ring of limbs, I can position the head in the middle, and again make sure that nothing is touching. It's highly recommended it that you cure your heat set paints in a well-ventilated area, be it outside on a gorgeous day like today, in a garage, or in a well-ventilated room or a room with a strong exhaust system. So once your parts have been arranged and you're sure that they're not touching each other or any part of the oven, we're ready to start our bake cycle. Genesis heat set paints will cure at any temperature between 250 degrees Fahrenheit and 285 degrees Fahrenheit. Vinyl, however, starts to get shiny around 275 degrees Fahrenheit, so I choose to cure at 250. Now, it's not obvious how to achieve that on the NuWave oven, so the first thing that you want to do is set the power level by pushing the power level button. According to the screen, by default the power is set to high. That corresponds to 100% power. 100% power on the NuWave oven is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is way too hot for your vinyl, it's way too hot for the paints. It's going to make a terrible mess, so make sure you always set the power level to 60% power by pressing the number 6. 60% power corresponds to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. If you are using a varnish or a medium, I suggest adding more time, not adding more heat, because the hotter that we get the vinyl, the higher the likelihood of melting, and we don't want that. You work so hard to paint your piece, we don't want to risk ruining it in the oven. So I highly recommend 60% power. Always visually confirm in the display that it says piece 60, and then you can set your cook time. It takes the NuWave oven about 3 minutes to reach the set temperature, and after that it very carefully maintains that temperature. So one thing that I love about this oven is that it's super accurate. You can actually hear the fan adjusting as the oven sort of cools off a little or starts to get too hot, so it's maintaining that constant 250 degrees. So I like to give it 11 minutes of baking time at 60% power, so that allows for the 3 minutes of warm-up time and gives me the full 8 minutes of baking time. So once you've set both your power level and your cook time, all you have to do is push start. And you may be able to hear the fan cranking up. The heating element is getting hot and the doll is beginning to cure. Because we're using a towel, there's nothing swirling around in there, and in spite of how strong the fan is, the parts don't fall over either, which is good. But something to definitely look out for, especially if you have a piece that's front heavy or back heavy, if it has a tendency to fall over, prop it up with some washcloths so that it doesn't get blown over by the wind inside the NuWave oven. One thing that I love about the NuWave oven is the ability to set it and forget it. When the bake cycle is over, the oven will beep and shut itself off, so you don't have to worry about over baking your doll. If you don't have any more dolls to bake, simply remove the top of your NuWave oven and allow the doll to cool, just sitting in the tray. However, if you're like me and you're cycling through several doll kits at a time, you can carefully remove the parts from the oven and place them on a tray to cool. Thank you for joining me. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you'll be among the first to know about new videos that are being added. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.